Broadcasting live from parts unknown, this is MJ and the boys. Minus MJ and minus one of the boys.
Hey, welcome to MJ and the boys, you lucky bastards. Shawn, I like to call this clandestine studios.
Yes.
Whenever we do
clandestine studios.
Clandestine studios.
Right.
Whenever I do things here, like say record my punk rock band without telling anybody.
Right on.
I can't tell you where we're at right now, but we are broadcasting live somewhere in Lexington, Kentucky. How are you?
I'm good, man. Apparently the Thanksgiving funk infected a couple of our members.
Yeah. Mary Jane said Mary Jane had an interesting little thing going on today because she said she had company coming over.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, no problem.
Yeah. We'll go to the clandestine studios.
We'll go to clandestine. Yeah. We don't need you.
Yeah,
I mean, we love you, but
yeah.
we can do a show without you. We've done it before. Yeah. And then she wrote back and was like, no, I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll see you then. Then she wrote back again and said, I just went home from work and I'm throwing up.
I'm dizzy and puking.
Okay. Well, no problem. We can do the show without you. We're on it. And she says, well, I'm going to take a nap. I'll let you know how I feel. Then she lets us she takes a nap, I guess, calls us a couple hours later and says, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And now we're like, okay, well, I guess we're on our way. I'll just put my jacket on on my way to her house.
Yeah.
And she writes back again, hey, guys, I'm really sick.
Yeah. Well, I will let you in on something. There was no chance in hell I was going to her house tonight. I was going to text you when she said she woke up, said, no, I don't want to go over there because I don't want whatever funk she's picked up at her other gig.
Right, because she works with the public.
Yeah.
And a very interesting section of the public.
Yes, hippies. Dirty
hippies who don't believe in medicine.
Yes.
So she could have any number of diseases, any number of communicable diseases. But it's all right. How was your my sister just texted us on our live show, and she said she's sick as well.
Oh, and also not a big fan of the public.
Hey, why don't you
pubic? Is she a fan of the pubic?
Hey, Delapina, why don't you dial in and see if we can get you on the air with us?
Ooh.
We very rarely actually. And Carrie, I see Carrie's listening too, and so is the pirate. Arg. Somebody call in the show. Help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's working. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Let's see how it happens.
All right. Connecting to Delapina. Welcome to MJ and the boys.
It worked. That's amazing.
It's working. It's working perfectly.
Way better than it ever has before.
Yeah, there must be an equipment issue at the regular studios. How was your Thanksgiving?
I ate 4 different types of cereal. So it was really good.
Oh, that's a feast.
It is.
Full disclosure, this is my sister. She is in Los Angeles, California right now. Therefore, she had no family Thanksgiving that I know of. You didn't go to...
You didn't invite her?
I knew better to invite her to come back to Kentucky for Thanksgiving.
I've been banned.
So, what did you do on Thanksgiving? Did you just?
I watched a lot of football. I played a lot of games on the iPad. I did not get out of pajamas. So I would say it was a real good Thanksgiving.
That's awesome. What the 4 cereals that you ate, did you mix them together or was it one at a time?
Well, I started with pure Cocoa Puffs, but then I thought, you know what? It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to go nuts. So I put Cocoa Puffs along with chocolate Cheerios together.
Oh, well, for the help.
Yeah. I mean, they look cool together and they're both chocolatey. And then whoa, what happened there?
You got a sponsorship.
Whenever
ding.
you do a plug, an unsolicited plug, you get a ding. Go on.
And then can you hear me even better now? Because I put in headphones. I got a
yes, I do hear you better.
I got a really wild hair, and I mixed chocolate Cheerios along with oat and cinnamon Cheerios, and I put a blob of peanut butter, smooth peanut butter. Yeah, and here's a really dang. I have tried both Jif and Skippy in my cereal, but Skippy's better by far. Sorry, Jif. I know you're in Lexington.
So weird.
You put peanut butter in your cereal
with milk?
Yeah. And I only use almond milk that's mixed. It's like almond coconut milk. So I'm telling you, it is a melange of delicious flavors. I would highly recommend.
First of all, let me just give my plug. Smucker's all natural peanut butter. Yeah, you have to stir it, but that is by far the best peanut butter out there.
I don't know, man.
I hear all natural. Yeah, all natural's a bad sign.
It's just peanuts and salt.
Did you watch Netflix over the Thanksgiving weekend?
I did. I watched all of them. I watched Netflix, Hulu, HBO, and.
Did you watch The Irishman?
No, I did not.
You didn't watch The Irishman? Shawn, did you see The Irishman?
Yeah, I watched it Thanksgiving night.
Oh, by the way, if you're listening, and I see that we actually have some other listeners, feel free to call in. It's not a one person at a time thing. So if you want to join the show, if you want to join the conversation, send us a request. We'll put you on the air. Andre Christian says Irishman was a great movie. Shawn, what did you...
Well, Andre's not going to be happy with me.
Tell me what you thought about The Irishman.
I enjoyed it in the moment. I liked watching all those guys on screen doing their respective things. Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, about a minute and a half of Harvey Keitel.
Right. Robert
De Niro was the weak part of the movie for me.
So?
I did. I didn't think he Robert De Niro'd, which lately is not great.
Oh, that's interesting, Shawn, because I thought that Al Pacino was the weak link in the movie.
Really, Al Pacino, I thought restrained himself very well, and was not Scent of a Woman. Post Scent of a Woman, Al Pacino. There was no hoo-ah.
Wait, there's sort of I've never seen even newsreels of Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
I don't know how he spoke in real life.
Well, he was Al Pacino. He spoke like
he did because
in this movie.
He was like hoo-ah, I'm Jimmy Hoffa, hoo-ah.
Yeah, there was no hoo-ahs. He was very well restrained.
Huh.
But
I think then we can both agree, though, that Joe Pesci was the standout of the movie. Then
absolutely, Joe Pesci gave one of the most reserved and still performances of his entire career, and it was brilliant. He played it
he's
opposite
amazing.
of what he's done.
Yeah, instead of being intense and crazy,
of being the crazy man, he was the calm.
But here's Andre Christian. Andre, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you guys doing?
Good, man.
That's
We're
good.
awesome.
Yeah. Irishman, man, it's so hard to relate now because I guess we're not all gangsters or we're not all Irishmen or Italian men, but absolutely great movie, man. I feel like all the actors played the roles very well. It was a very good little touch on history. It made it, I won't say relatable, but it made it where you kind of wanted to go back in that time and be one of those characters. And you wanted to you would want to be a gangster. I mean, that's how I felt with the Irishman.
No,
was
for
it
me,
super bloody?
No.
There was a lot of murder in it, but it wasn't bloody. It wasn't as brutal as say Goodfellas, like the stabbing in the trunk of Goodfellas. But it wasn't as intense either. It was it's 3.5 hours long, so it was a much more laid back. And by the way, Andre, I am 100% Italian, so
and I am also 100% Irish.
we're representing here.
How have you not come to blows already?
We had some arguments.
I'm much bigger than him though, so it keeps him in check.
I'm the Joe Pesci, and he's the Robert De Niro. So, but what was interesting is it wasn't historically accurate. I was just reading a story about that today.
Nobody knows what's historically accurate with regards to Hoffa,
right?
And this was Frank Sheeran's story.
Andre, what did you think about? Where do you rank this movie with the rest of Scorsese's movies? Are you a fan? Do you like Goodfellas? Do you like Casino or any of them?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up watching them, so yes, absolutely. But like you said, I mean, Netflix actually produced it, right? Or it was like a Netflix
they put
film,
the money
right?
up for it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Netflix always does not always, but does actually a good job with representing, making a good product. They made a good product movie. I would have paid to go see it. Now, was it one of the best? No, I would have to say I like Goodfellas a little bit better, but it was up there.
For me, and I'm a big fan of Martin Scorsese, I didn't think it was his masterpiece. A lot of people are saying masterpiece. It's weird. The internet is split. People are either saying it was masterpiece or that it was slow and boring.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was either of those things. I don't think it was his masterpiece, but I found it intriguing. I enjoyed it. It was, it's 3.5 hours long. It's going to be slow, right?
It was too long.
It was too long.
It was remarkably long.
And it was very Scorsese-yelent. Like, if all the parts that were in slow motion were just full speed, it would have been 2.5 hours long.
This is true. I am at the moment, because of some of the comments he's made recently with regards to other filmmakers, I'm a little sour on Martin Scorsese. Yeah. And so perhaps that influenced the way I am looking back on this movie. Because like I said, in the moment while I was watching it, I was fine with it. It got a little draggy towards the middle, and I wished it would hurry up and move along and go. The
last 45 minutes were the best part of it.
Yeah. But looking back on it, and pardon me for this, because this is a graphic thing I'm about to say, it felt like Martin Scorsese sitting in his room masturbating for 3.5 hours. That's how I feel about it. He got all his buddies together.
Yeah.
They got in a circle, and they whacked each other off for 3.5 hours. Yeah, I know. It's. I told you, I warned you.
They're all in their 70s, so that might not even be possible.
But all the performances were good, but the movie didn't say anything to me.
Yeah.
And
I also thought, because that, I mean, if you know anything about history at all, you know that Jimmy Hoffa dies in the end. It's not a spoiler. Right. So there wasn't a lot of suspense for me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't worried about whether or not he was going to die or not, because I knew he was going to die.
Yeah.
So that kind of.
I don't know, dude. I think that is questionably a spoiler, because nobody really knows where he is.
Yeah, but everybody knows that he died,
though. And they don't know who killed him or where he ended up.
Andre signed off. Thanks for calling in, Andre.
Yeah,
thanks,
Andre.
Cool.
And you know.
He could be in sex slavery somewhere, not necessarily.
Well, he'd be 100 by now. So.
No. But, Shawn, in regards to what you were just saying, there's a documentary. It's a round table. It's the three of those guys. It's the four of them.
Yeah.
On Netflix. Did you watch it?
No, I was too much done at that point.
So Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, and Al Pacino are sitting around a table, and they're talking about the movie.
See, I think I would rather watch that.
So I watched it.
The movie.
It's 30 minutes long. What the hell? Yeah. They spent about 10 minutes talking about the de-aging that they did, the digital de-aging.
Yeah.
And what made me really sad was they were talking about how the different ways that their performances had to be in order to pull off. Like, for instance, when you're a younger man, you have to move quicker. You have to stand up straighter. You have to talk faster. When you're an older guy, you slouch, and you slump down. I was going to slump and slouch. Yeah. And you have to go slower. And they were talking about all this and how, and Martin Scorsese was just, how amazed he was with the way Pacino did it, with the way De Niro did it.
Really?
But what
Pacino? Yeah.
Well, they're sitting there talking to each other. They're not going to. But what really bummed me out was the conversation they were having was exactly the same conversation that the Russo brothers were having about Chris Evans
when they aged
him as Captain America, and Scorsese coming out and trashing Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. It made me really sad, because like if he actually watched that Marvel movie, if he would have seen the process, that he would have seen that they did the exact same thing. First of all, Marvel did it first. Yeah. He sort of ripped off their thing.
Yeah.
And second of all, Chris Evans did it the exact same way. You know what I mean? He lowered his voice. He talked slower. He moved slower. He did everything that they were talking about. But Scorsese just thinks Marvel movies are all trash.
Well, Scorsese is an asshole. And there were times, specifically with Robert De Niro, the other two guys, you didn't notice it as much, but they were much more stationary. There were times, such as when De Niro was beating somebody up on the street, or just walking away from the camera, where you could see every second of his life in his movement. He moved like he was 80 years old.
Right.
And he was kicking somebody while they were supposed to be laying on the ground. He was kicking them, and he was kicking them with all the force of a toddler kicking. He wasn't able, and this is nothing against him, because he's 74 years old or whatever, however old he is. He was unable to move like the 45-year-old man he was supposed to be playing. And it took me out of the movie a little bit. There's such a thing as using technology too much to the point where it doesn't work, right? And it distracts you more than it brings you in.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And those parts did, where De Niro was having to walk or kick or fight. It just he wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, well, can I just say, as an aspiring actor, the last thing I need is to be competing for the very few roles for, 40-year-old women with 70-year-old actresses who've already made a name for themselves. It's like, oh my God, not only do I have to compete with other actresses my own age, now I have to compete with, Sharon Stone.
Yeah, what if Michelle Pfeiffer gets de-aged and we don't ever need any new actresses for like the next 30 years?
That's exactly my point. I mean, not that I'm getting auditions for roles like that. I'm getting auditions for like background actress number 17, but that's still like, wow, make this harder.
Well, background actress 17 is notoriously the most essential.
No, we've talked about it before. True. When I saw Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, the way he looked in that movie, and it was so weird and perfect, I said, we don't need new actors. If Kurt Russell can be young Kurt Russell again, let's just put him in everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen,
perfect.
Where do you rank Scorsese as is he still one of the all-time great directors to you?
I mean, yeah, you can't deny what he's done in the past just because the sins of the present don't affect the past.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, he's one of the greats. He's one of the all-time greats. He's done some of the best movies ever.
Well, what about currently working? Would you rank him in the top 5 currently working? I tell you what,
of the stuff he's put out in the past 10 years.
Let's do it like this.
Let's do it this way.
MJ and the boys, Big 5.
We're putting your sister on the spot if she wants to participate.
Big 5 directors currently working in Hollywood. Okay. I'll go first.
Okay. Well, how far back are we looking?
I don't think there's
their
a
movies
time
of the
limit.
past decade or their whole career.
I think if they're still doing something, if they're active, you can say, for instance, okay, I got Steven Spielberg on my list. Sure. I don't think Spielberg's done anything recently that I really care about. You know what I mean? Personally.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to put him in my honorable mentions because of his body of work. Okay. Because he's still working. I'm not going to put Alfred Hitchcock in there because he's dead.
Well, yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I understand what you meant by currently working.
All right. So here,
I didn't know how much of their career we were taking into account.
Here's my honorable mention: Christopher Guest. He does all the Best in Show and all those movies.
Left field choice. Yeah.
He would be higher up if all those movies weren't very similar to one another. And so he has a style. But Wes Anderson, Steven Spielberg, and his non-union Mexican equivalent is Steven Spielbergo.
Wait, which one's Wes Anderson? What is he the?
He does Rushmore and Steve Zissou, all the weird movies.
Yeah, fuck that guy. All the twee movies.
I like those movies. The Royal Tannenbaums, that was good. And Quentin Tarantino. I think Tarantino's, I gave Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sort of like a half-assed review. I didn't say it was great, but the more I think about it, the more I like it. The more I reflect on it, the more I like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Tarantino's still doing pretty good work. Okay, number 5. Here's my big 5. Danny Boyle.
Right on.
Danny Boyle did 127 Hours. He did Trainspotting. He did Trainspotting 2, T2, which I actually think is better than Trainspotting. And most recently, he did yesterday the Beatles movie.
Well, you're leaving out one of his most awesome features that's very underappreciated, Sunshine. It's an outstanding science fiction movie.
Sunshine? I've never even heard of it. Sunshine. Okay, so good. Danny Boyle, number 5. Number 4, the Russo brothers. The Russo brothers did all the best Marvel movies: Infinity War, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Endgame, if you like that one. Number 3, Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright did Scott Pilgrim vs. World, Baby Driver,
and the Cornetto trilogy.
What's the Cornetto trilogy?
It's all the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movies.
Oh, all of those movies are great.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz,
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End.
Thank you. Number 2. This was a toss-up for me. Number 2 and number 1 could have gone either way. Number 2, the Coen brothers. And I'm sure you're going to have them on your list.
Absolutely.
The Coen brothers, masters of suspense, but also, I think, unappreciated for how hilarious they are. And I think one movie that people don't like by them, which is the one with George Clooney and Catherine Zeta-Jones. What was that one?
Out of Sight?
No.
Shit. I don't remember.
Jennifer, what is that one?
What is it? Catherine Zeta-Jones and what?
And George Clooney.
Oh, that one where they were like spies or something?
No, they weren't spies. He was a lawyer and she was a rich person trying to sue people.
Oh, I know. It's intolerable
cruelty.
Oh, right.
Hilarious. I absolutely love that movie. And people, hey, I don't know why I can't remember the name just now. And
I didn't like it.
Really good. I love that movie. Oh, and there's my wife, Intolerable Cruelty. Thank you. And then number 1 for me, it's got to be Martin Scorsese. And I don't think, Shawn, there are sins of the past. I mean, sins of the present. Because Wolf of Wall Street.
I hated that movie.
Did you? You didn't even watch it.
No, I hated the whole idea of that movie so much that I
didn't even
tolerate watching it.
Awesome. Wolf of Wall Street's endlessly entertaining. And Margot Robbie full nude frontal.
Well, that's all well and good, but
the director is the one who made her do that. That alone puts him in the top 10. But that movie's great.
You know, I'm too goddamn old to spend my time watching movies full of terrible people. And that seemed like it was going to be a movie full of terrible people.
Every single person in it is a horrible person. But it's fascinating.
I'm in Pollyanna mode now. I want happy, lovey people.
And it's really well done. But and not only that, but Scorsese does a lot of like Rolling Stones movies and Bob Dylan movies and like documentaries people don't really hear about as much. And not to and I thought this movie was good. It's not his best work. I think Goodfellas will never be topped by anything. But so number 1 for me is Martin Scorsese. But
2006 was Scorsese's last great movie, I think.
Which was what?
Departed.
Oh yeah, Departed was great.
Hugo was good. I won't see The Wolf of Wall Street because I don't need to. I see it. Those fucking guys are running the country. Fuck them. I don't need to see them.
But it doesn't really necessarily glamorize him.
Yeah,
The Wolf of Wall Street sort of does.
Yeah. Did he get his in the end?
He did.
Okay, well that's all right then. All right, honorable mention for me. I'll give it to Scorsese. Honorable mention is like a list of the best directors ever, but currently what their output is not quite there. Martin Scorsese, Neil Marshall, Spike Lee, David Fincher.
Oh, David Fincher,
Steve Spielberg, and Catherine Bigelow. It's a name you won't hear very much, but she's done some great movies. Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30.
Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Yes, Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Yeah, she was great in that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Catherine Boyle. So as far as the actual list goes, I agree with you on Danny Boyle at number 5. Sunshine is a masterpiece, and then a lot of those other movies you mentioned are also great. 28 Days Later is when you left out that it's just a fantastic horror movie.
Hey Trixie.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Tell the story about what happened to you at the movie yesterday. Sorry to interrupt, Shawn.
That's okay.
It's so embarrassing, but
I know that's why I was going to tell it.
I love the Beatles so much. I spent
my
life following Paul McCartney around the world. I know. I just want to set the stage that this is not normal for me. So I go to see this movie and I bawled so hard. I cried so hard.
Oh, you cried.
That the stranger.
Not bawled I was bawling.
She bawled out.
No, I wasn't bawling like a balla. No. I was crying my eyes out, and the stranger next to me put the arm rest in between us. He put it up, put his arm around me, and patted my
head. She cried so hard, a stranger had to console her.
What would have made
it was very sweet.
What would make that story even better, and feel free to use this in the future, if you turn to that stranger and it's Danny Boyle.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, that is what I'm going to say from now on. Yeah, thank you.
Have at it, man.
All right, John.
Actually, you know what? I don't want to keep, hogging it up, but since you said that, I also went to see the movie David Crosby, the biography about David Crosby, which was directed by Cameron Crowe. And Cameron Crowe was sitting in front of me, and I cried really hard, and he turned around and he grabbed my hand and patted my hand. So yes, it's possible.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Where was I? Number 5.
Number 4.
Danny Boyle. Yeah. Number 4. George Miller. Who's George Miller, you ask?
But he only makes one movie.
No, listen to this. All right. Obviously, he made all 4 of the Mad Max movies, including Mad Max Fury Road, which is one of the top 5 best movies ever made of all time.
Yeah.
Also, heard that before.
It's Babe. It's great.
Babe. He made Babe. And Babe Pig in the City.
Babe 2 Pig in the City?
Yes.
Oh, he's good for the top 5.
The Witches of East.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
And you know what?
He directed the video for Tina Turner's We Don't Need Another Hero.
Babe's a great movie, too.
It really is. He's only done, a dozen movies or so, but he earns a place on it for the Mad Max quadrilogy, especially for Fury Road.
I didn't know he did Babe.
I mean, that's wide range. That's a lot. If you can do a lot of different styles, I think that
Happy Feet and Happy Feet also.
Yeah.
Happy Feet was all right.
Awesome.
It's fine.
Babe, I will take Babe over Charlotte's Web any day of the week.
Yeah, that'll do, Pig.
We're talking Pig. Movies.
That'll do.
All right, we'll put him on there.
Number 3, Ridley Scott. Alien, man. The entire Alien franchise.
He's done a bunch of stuff
also
lately.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot more in television lately, but he's still making movies, and he made a couple of movies that pissed me off. He made Prometheus, which kind of pissed me off, except after I saw the latest Alien movie, it kind of made a little more sense, and I wasn't so angry anymore. So Ridley Scott will always have a place in my top directors list simply because of Alien, which is one of the, again, 5 greatest movies ever made.
Okay.
And number 2, Edgar Wright.
All right.
Edgar Wright. Yeah. Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, 2 of the greatest riffs on genre movies that actually turn into those genres themselves ever made.
It's clever.
The Zom Rom-Com of Shaun of the Dead invented an entirely new thing. And Hot Fuzz might be better. It takes the piss out of Point Break and all those old early 90s cop movies. But at the same time, it is the best of those 90s cop movies. Partners, mismatched partners and leaping and firing 2 guns at the same time and all that shit. It does it better than those movies ever thought about doing. So Edgar Wright has a place for those 3 movies and for Scott Pilgrim and 1,000 other things that he's done. Number 1's Coen Brothers. And number 1 really wasn't even close. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, again, is one of my top 5, 6, 7 movies ever made. The dialogue in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, I would put it up against any movie ever written. Just it's constant, witty, snappy dialogue.
And that's indicative of all Coen Brothers movies. You can sort of, if you're watching a movie and you don't know that they directed it, you can almost guess that they did it by the way the characters interact with each other.
Yes, and that particular movie, which is what earns them this spot on the list, it's their highest movie in my regard. The washed out color that they did, the sepia toned of Depression era Mississippi. I mean, it's brilliant. It's brilliant all around.
And it's a remake of the Odyssey, which
very loosely adapted from.
And that's the brilliance of it too, because if you don't know that, you would never know that.
Yeah.
But if you do know that, you can see all the parallels there with the Cyclops and the Sirens.
Yep. The Sirens.
Those Sirens loved us up. All right. So this is an easy list because we had several crossovers and one of your honorable mentions. Yes.
Well, I had some.
I didn't know you were participating. Please go.
Oh, I did.
Anybody else? Big 5, go for it.
I had a heads up we were going to talk about directors, but I did misunderstand, and my number 1 was Stanley Kubrick. Okay, I get it. He can't be on the list, but other people on my list were living. So I'm gonna drop this list on you, and then I'm gonna bail because I'm at work right now. I gotta go to a meeting. So here we go. I already mentioned my honorable mention would be. I know. First of all, I'm going to be honest with you guys. These are probably not the best directors in the world. Maybe 1 or 2 of them are, but just ones I think are great and make movies that I love. Honorable mention: Steven Soderbergh. They're just so much fun. His movies are so much fun. And then
give me an example of 1 or 2.
Ocean's 11, the George Clooney version. And then my list would be Cameron Crowe at number 5. I know I have already name dropped him, but again, every movie he makes I think is charming and heart touching, and I just love him.
Yeah, he's a very good director.
Number 4 would be Alejandro Iñárritu, which he makes some hardcore but brilliant movies like The Revenant and Birdman. He's amazing. Yeah. He won the Oscar a couple of years ago.
He had a couple of good years there, just a couple of years back.
The Revenant has literally been sitting on my DVR for 3 years now, and I'm going to get to it, I swear.
Totally got to put that one on there. I put Jordan Peele at number 3. Now, I have to admit the guys only had one that I thought was amazing. The second one I thought was okay. But
wait, which one did you like better?
Get Out.
Hands down, Get Out.
Don't spoil Us for me. Don't spoil Us is also on my DVR only for 3 days. I just recorded it the other day, so I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, watch it. It's not bad. It's just not Get Out. And then
Okay.
number 2, I really hated to write this down. I did not want to write this person down because he sucks as a human, but he's an amazing director, and that's Clint Eastwood. So that's at number 2.
He is a horrible person.
Yeah.
His movies are pretty dang slow, though. They're good. They're
good.
Unforgiven's great.
Yeah.
I can take or leave most of the other ones, but he's done some really good stuff.
Yeah, he's a good director.
And he is a garbage.
He's surprisingly good director considering what a piece of shit he is.
He is a garbage person.
Yeah.
Who's number 1?
Kevin Costner.
Well, my number was that number 2?
Shane Black. Oh, you're on number 2? Go on.
Oh no, I think that was number 2. And then number 1 would be Ben Affleck. Just kidding.
Well, Argo was great.
I think it could be Christopher Lloyd, it could be Darren Aronofsky, but I'm gonna go, and it could be David Fincher. He's awesome too, but I'm gonna go with Paul Thomas Anderson. I think he's really entertaining.
What's he do? Sometimes I get him confused with Wes Anderson.
Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, which was amazing.
There's another Anderson that also does the zombie movies with Mila Jovovich.
Lots of Andersons out there. I don't know which one that is.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to make the same. By the way, Carrie said her list is exactly the same as Shawn's.
As it should be.
Sounds right.
Here we go. Here's our big 5. Here's the official greatest directors working today, bar none. Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder didn't make it. Sorry, guys. I know you're going to be pissed. Martin Scorsese, Danny Boyle, George Miller, Edgar Wright, and the Coen brothers. So it is written. So it be said.
The MJ and the Boys Big 5.
I have a big concession there by putting Scorsese number 5 on the list, Shawn, just so you know.
Yeah, that's fair. Resident Evil is the movies I was trying
and
to
there
think
goes,
of.
okay. We've lost my sister Trixie, or Jennifer, or whatever her name is.
Yeah,
she's gone now. But I've got a fat bitch. And
Do you now?
Yeah, I haven't thought about it too much. I'm going to try to improv it right now.
About the Irishman?
No.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Now it's time for the MJ and the Boys Fat Bitch. That's fat with a PH, and bitch is a verb.
You know, holiday Christmas music is annoying enough as it is already. Don't put it in a commercial and change the lyrics to make your product fit. Like, 5 buffalo wings. It's shitty enough by itself. Don't change the words and try to sell me something. And speaking of Christmas commercials, who watching football on Sundays got enough money to buy 2 Mercedes Benzes for Christmas? You know what I mean? Like, don't you know who you're advertising to?
Football watchers are the most affluent of watchers.
Listen, if you can afford...
You can't afford to buy 2 Mercedes? What kind of shit job do you have?
If you can afford to buy 2 cars as Christmas presents, you don't need to be advertised to. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
You're going to go buy those anyway. Yeah. What are they doing? And Mercedes somehow has adopted Santa Claus as their official spokesperson.
Everybody. Santa Claus is the spokesperson for everybody. I once bought my child 18 cars and a truck to haul them around in for Christmas.
Was it because of a Ford commercial that influenced you so strongly?
Yes, I bought the whole fucking car hauler because I love my kids so much.
Well, that's I don't love my kid quite that much. So that's
well, that's bad for her. You should buy her 18 cars. Now the cars were only 1.5 inches each long, but
I see.
Cars they were.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, listen, I've got some news for you if you're traveling this holiday season. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, and this one's going out to my sister, who I think is flying home for Christmas, is warning travelers to watch out about a USB charger scam they call juice jacking.
Which is what Martin Scorsese did for 3.5 hours in The Irishman.
Oh!
That's not it.
How about anyway, juice jacking is when unsuspecting users plug their electronic device into a USB port or USB cable that has been loaded with malware. The malware infects your devices, giving hackers a way in. They then can read and export your data, including your passwords, and even lock up the gadgets, making them unusable. Juice jacking exploits the fact that someone doesn't have a full battery. So basically, if you're in the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to say the airport because if you're in the bus station, you probably don't have a nice phone anyway.
Oh.
If you're in the airport and your phone is dying and you see a cable just hanging out there, don't take advantage of that.
No, never use strange cables.
I have to tell you, before I read this, I would absolutely do that. I would go, this has happened to me where I've been traveling, didn't have my charger, or I had my cable in my luggage, which got checked, right? So then,
wow, you are so young and innocent in your traveling ways.
So then, when I was at my layover for 2 hours, my iPad died, and if I had seen a random cable just sticking out of the wall, I totally would have plugged my iPad in, charged it up,
right?
Because I was bored.
Yeah. What do you bring in your carry-on? I'm getting off topic. Well, I'm not. I'm right on topic.
Okay.
What if you don't carry your charging cables in your carry-on luggage? What do you have in there?
I think snacks. I think what happened was they made me check my carry-on.
Oh, because the plane was too full and you couldn't get it in the overhead.
I'm always the very last person to board the plane. Oh, they like call you by the sections.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm always flying the cheapest, so sure. I'm always the last.
Sure, and you're not a frequent enough flyer to have gotten bumped up levels.
Of course not.
Right.
And I hate standing in line. So what I do is I just sit in the little chair there and wait till the line's all but empty.
Oh, okay.
And everybody's on board, and then I'm the last person on the plane.
So you're the guy that everybody's looking at saying, "Oh God, don't sit here. Don't sit here. Don't sit here.
I am.
Please don't sit here. Got this middle seat empty. Don't take the middle seat."
That's exactly
Oh,
right.
you fat fuck. Even if you're not fat.
I know.
It's, oh, you fat fuck. You're taking the middle.
And that's me. And once I held up a plane, this was like when I was very inexperienced. And it was way before 9/11 or any of that stuff. And I had no idea about flying. And I looked at my flight time. I was like, oh, I got plenty of time. But I didn't know the difference between flight time and boarding time or whatever.
Sure.
So I was at the bar having a drink.
Oh, sure.
And it was a Sunday. I was watching football.
Did they call you by your name?
No, I was moseying down to my gate. And there was a flight attendant standing at the gate. And she was going, "Is anyone going to Pittsburgh?" I went, "Oh, that's me." They were waiting. The plane was waiting on me. Yeah, I walked on the plane I got death stares from everybody.
I bet you did. Yeah. You made him take off later.
Yeah, I did. But I was young. I didn't know. Now I'm a very considerate flyer now.
Are you now?
I definitely am. Like I won't take my shoes off and whatever. So I'm like, try to be.
That's not necessarily a considerate flyer. That's just a person.
Yeah, but people do it.
I know
all
those are
time,
not people.
So anyway.
Do you recline? Do you recline?
I try not to. No. If I know there's someone behind me, I won't recline my seat.
Yeah, reclining the seat of an airplane is the most obnoxious and useless
Pointless
thing. It goes back an inch and a half.
Yeah, all it does is
bang into somebody's knees.
Yeah, it doesn't make you any more comfortable. Nope. Yeah. Nope. So, and you fly a lot more often than I do. So but I'm like,
I'm a jet setter.
Yeah, except for that you go straight from the airport to the hotel and back, and you never leave the hotel when you're on a trip.
I do work. I go to workplaces.
So anyway, that's if you see a cable, just be careful there. Try not to use it. And now, in a related story, the FBI is warning that your smart TV is one of the most hackable devices in your house.
Is it?
And it says that people can take control of your smart TV and watch you through it if it's got a camera on it. So, like, if you're sitting home doing your business,
the fuck has a camera on their TV?
I don't have one on mine, but that's what the FBI warned, that they can watch you through it. They can take control of your TV. If you have, for instance,
the outer limits.
If you have a Roku TV, like the outer limits.
We have control of your television.
Of the horizontal.
We have control of the horizontal.
I have a Roku TV. My credit card number is in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I signed up for Disney Plus or whatever.
Right.
Hackers can get that. And apparently they can get it very easily, like much more, because TVs aren't protected the way computers are. So if you have a smart TV, that's just another thing you need to worry about.
Right. Well, you got to put security protections on your router, on your modem and or router.
Oh, okay.
If you can't put them on the TV, you gotta catch it at the at the source,
at the point where it's coming into your house.
And then you got to just allow certain ports to go through, so you don't get kicked off of all your things that you're signed into.
Okay. Now I have no idea what you're talking about.
If you used your video game system as your host for Disney Plus, you wouldn't have to worry as much about that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's me personally. I use my PlayStation for half of my streaming services, and I use my Roku TV for the other half.
The only thing I use my Roku TV for is the PBS app, because I'm a nerd and I'm a supporter of PBS.
The PBS app?
I am
That's
people.
so sweet.
I am people like you, okay, that bring programming to everyone. I am people like you, but everything else is on my Xbox.
Are you excited about the Mr. Rogers movie, Mr. PBS?
I am. I hope they have to tread lightly with it, because Mr. Rogers is such an iconic hero to so many people.
That's right.
That they can't. It would crush a lot of people if they showed a dark side to Mr. Rogers.
And he didn't have a dark side, according to the documentary that just came out.
Yeah.
Like he was actually like that all the time.
Yeah. He was a bit of a control freak, though. So I hear. He wanted everything with regards to that show in a very specific way. Wasn't mean, wasn't nasty, wasn't a bully, wasn't a shouter, but you did it his way, or he didn't really have much use for you.
It's interesting. I saw an interview with Tom Hanks where he was talking about he was on an elevator in Pittsburgh, which Mr. Rogers is a native Pittsburghian or whatever. Pittsburghonian.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they were chit-chatting while stuck on the elevator together. This guy's just a fan,
Right.
And everything was fine and pleasant. The guy got off first, and he stepped off the elevator. As the doors were closing, he looked back at Tom Hanks, got deadly serious, and said, "We take Mr. Rogers very serious in Pittsburgh." And then the door shut, and Tom Hanks was chilled because this guy was being nice to him, and then got super stern and was like, "Don't fuck with Mr. Rogers here." And I think, Tom Hanks sort of, wants to honor those people. He wants to make sure he does a good job.
Well, Tom Hanks is about as close to a Mr. Rogers as we have in Hollywood right now. By all accounts, he is just a genuinely nice dude.
Okay, so we've got a listener who says she's sick of Mr. Rogers. Why don't you call in, Carrie Pulliam? Call in, tell us why you're sick of
Mr. Rogers.
Oh,
nobody
Tom
can
Hanks.
be sick of Mr. Rogers.
It's been dead too long to get sick of.
Yeah.
Carrie, co-host, please call in.
Yeah,
press the little button and call in.
It looks like an armchair.
Here we go. We've got Carrie. Phone? Welcome to MJ and the Boys. Tell us why. How could you possibly be sick of Tom Hanks?
I'm just bored with him. He's in all the movies. Like anything. Like, the guy, lands in the Hudson and he's a hero. Tom Hanks. Mr. Rogers.
Anytime somebody
Tom Hanks. I'm like, and now I just see Tom Hanks. And I was actually commenting in reply to your wife, like after the documentary, what's this movie for?
Agreed.
Why?
Yeah. Well, that's now this tells.
And then they go and put Tom Hanks in it. And I'm just like, so now it's even
play
more
Mr. Rogers. I mean, Edward Norton. You want Edward Norton to be your Mr. Rogers?
Physically, Edward Norton could be.
No,
Mr.
I want Mr. Rogers to be Mr. Rogers. They already made the documentary. I'm saying the whole fucking movie's a bad idea.
But maybe this is about Mr. Rogers changing one man's life and not everybody's
life. Did you
life.
see the Hervé Villechaize movie on HBO?
Care.
No.
Which you should, by the way. It's great. It is great. That movie was told from the point of view of a reporter who is interviewing Hervé Villechaize.
Right.
Okay.
And I think this movie
kind of the same thing.
I think they probably got it from that. That this movie's not about Tom Hanks. I mean, about Mr. Rogers. It's about the guy interviewing him.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm still not very interested in it.
In the mid-'90s, Tom Hanks very, very nearly lost me when he made Forrest fucking Gump.
Yeah, I hate that movie.
Tom Hanks has made a ton of terrible movies. By the way, now I love Tom Hanks.
Aside from Forrest Gump, you mean?
The Man with One Red Shoe.
That was awesome.
Joe versus a Volcano.
Don't you ever say an ill word against Joe versus a Volcano.
I just watched The Money Pit on Saturday.
The Money Pit. These are not
Those
great
are
movies.
Great movies.
Are you kidding me?
Joe versus the Volcano. You need to revisit that movie.
The Burbs.
The Burbs is bad.
The Burbs is fantastic.
But I enjoyed it. It's bad, but I enjoyed it.
Philadelphia.
When's the last time he made a comedy?
Tom Hanks?
Yes.
Oof.
We're naming movies from back when he was a comedic actor. He doesn't do that anymore.
No, he's a serious actor. Probably when he did the Coen Brothers movie, The Lady Killers.
Was that a comedy? Because it wasn't funny.
It was supposed to be.
That was like 15 years ago, though, man. That's my point. I don't know. I'm bored with him and the whole nicest man in America. So he's going to play every good guy, every good old white man ever until he dies. Meh.
I mean, we really only need one good old white man. We could get by with only one good old white man. Might as well be Tom Hanks.
I'm trying to find. Geez, he's directed a whole lot of movies too.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah. Gosh. I'm trying to find what the last comedy he's done.
I will take you out in the parking lot and fight you over Joe versus the Volcano. Don't call that a bad movie.
That's a fantastic movie.
Toy Story 4, I guess, was his last comedy. Does that count? Because he's the voice of the Toy Story or whatever.
I'm not saying anything bad about a Pixar movie ever. The Toy Story movies are fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just think, we could have Tim Allen playing all the roles of the old white man.
Oh no, that would be awful. Man, good point, Shawn. All right, let's get, since we're already on it, let's get into nerd stuff.
Okay.
Michael.
Everybody loves something nerdy. How about you? I don't remember the
That's
words.
Pretty good. Michael B. Jordan has talked to DC Films about playing Superman in an upcoming Superman movie.
Okay.
It's not happening, but it might happen. You know what I'm saying? He's talked to them. It's not like official or whatever.
Don't do it, Michael B. Jordan. That's right. Random basset hound in the background.
Why do you think that Michael B. Jordan shouldn't play?
I'll hang up. I love you guys.
Bye, Carrie. Thanks for calling in.
Because Superman's a shit property. It's a shit intellectual property right now. It needs a massive, massive reconsideration to ever make another Superman movie. Superman's a boring hero.
Right, but isn't that's it right there? Michael B. Jordan. He's black? Yeah.
Well, what is being black doesn't have to do anything with anything. That's great if they diversify Superman.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be a shit story. It's just going to be a shit story starring a black man as Superman.
You hate Superman.
I fucking hate Superman.
Full disclosure.
I think he's the most worthless, overpowered, superpowered superhero around. There are no stakes when Superman is involved, because nothing
can punch a hole in the sun. Who cares? But I am for this. I want to see Michael Jordan as Superman, but I'm dreading the internet man babies freaking out about it.
Michael B. Jordan, not Michael Jordan.
Yeah, not crying Jordan. He'll play the dad.
Yeah, he can be
Marlon Brando's character.
Zor-El,
yes. That'd be funny.
Kal-El. That's Superman.
Kal-El is Superman. I think you're right, Zor-El.
Right, Zor-El.
Something. It doesn't matter. The internet's going to freak out. They're going to freak the fuck out. And I think that Michael B. Jordan should be Superman, because once he is and it's over with, then the freaking out will have to stop eventually. You know what I mean?
No.
But
we'll never stop.
I don't want to. I hate it's going to be like a year of reading more hate shit on the internet, and it's the worst. It's the worst. But I think it's cool, and he's got the personality, he's got the body, he could do it.
I have no problem in any way with Michael B. Jordan if he wants to take a role. Just be Batman.
Yeah, right.
There are stories to tell with Batman.
Sure, Batman's very interesting.
Yeah, Superman's just fucking dull.
All right, I want you to try to think. I tried to look up what episode this was on of our show, and I just couldn't find it. But I want to say a year or 2 years ago, before Disney bought Fox.
Okay.
But there were rumors that Disney might buy Fox. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what I told you about The Simpsons? What I said on the show? What would happen to The Simpsons if Disney bought Fox?
It'll end.
Yeah, the Disney would cancel The Simpsons
because it's damaging itself right now.
Yeah. Well, Danny Elfman, who does all the music for The Simpsons, did the theme song or whatever, he said that he heard a rumor that Disney is canceling The Simpsons.
It's 18 years too late.
Of course. In fact, if you think about it, The Simpsons, I think, has had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 great seasons. From season 3 to season 8. Absolutely perfect. Season 1 and 2 are really good, but
I might give it 9.
9 has 50% of season 9 are season 8 great, and 50% you can see the cracks starting to show. And
I don't know it as well as you, but
I've gone through, I haven't actually watched them, but I know them so well. I've seen every episode like 50 times.
Yeah.
I went through just the other day on Disney Plus and looked at the titles of season 9. And I'm like, oh, that one's hilarious. That one's hilarious. That one's hilarious. Oh, that one sucks. That one's hilarious. That one's hilarious. Oh, that one sucks. Season 9, you can see the cracks a little bit. Season 10 is when it goes off the rails. And then season 11 to 30 are awful.
Yeah.
It's just awful. And I try to watch it occasionally. I can't get through it. But I predicted that Disney would cancel The Simpsons because the real money about The Simpsons that they're going to make from The Simpsons is in merchandising.
Yeah.
They can merchandise The Simpsons for the rest of eternity, and never have to pay those actors to make a new episode. So they're not going to.
Yeah. And there's, the Simpsons, there's not been any good stories lately about The Simpsons. It's all been negative stuff. The racial insensitivity of Apu and, the cast doing whatever the cast does. So, yeah, it's beyond time. I got no problem with Disney if they want to end The Simpsons.
I hope they do. I hate to say it, but I hope they do. But make one more Simpsons movie, one good one. Get the old Simpsons writers, Conan O'Brien, whoever wrote it back in the 90s, pay them a buttload of money, make one good Simpsons movie. That would be great.
Bring Matt Groening back and let him write a couple.
Yeah, right on. Here is news from my wife.
Okay. That's weird.
Kelsey Grammer has confirmed there will be a Frasier reboot. Yeah, I thought you'd like that, Shawn. Frasier's going to join the likes of Will and Grace and Gossip Girl and Lizzie McGuire and Friends. It's going to be a Friends reunion coming down the pike.
Okay. Lizzie McGuire.
I'm just reading this.
Mad About You?
I don't know. Mad About You is another one that's coming back, they say. But Kelsey Grammer has confirmed it. There will be a Frasier reboot.
I don't have a problem with Frasier. It was a perfectly serviceable show, and I laugh occasionally when I watch
most sitcoms, the early episodes were good, and then it kind of got bad.
Yeah, he's already in the record books as playing the same character for the most amount of TV episodes or for the longest amount of years or something. Yeah. If he wants to extend that out, that's fine. But Kelsey Grammer's a garbage person.
Another fucking
garbage person that always just keeps finding jobs.
This is all he's got now at this. I mean, he's got a beautiful voice, so he could do voice work forever.
Yeah.
But to be an actor on TV, Frasier's all he got. So
yeah.
And people are loving these reboots. I mean, it's weird that you're getting nostalgia for something that came out 10 years ago, though. You know what? For me, like, if you're going to reboot something, it should be like 25 years old.
Well, I mean,
maybe Frasier is 25.
Oh, Jesus Frasier Christ. Debuted in like 95.
Oh, I'm so 94, fucking old.
95. Cheers ended in 93. And Frasier came out the next season or the season after.
Maybe it should be 50 years. God, jeez.
There's a market for it. I mean, our generation now, Generation X, and the older millennials are the people that are wanting all this nostalgic bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, let them watch it.
Yeah.
Let us watch it.
I like some of it too. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't want them to reboot everything.
I'm trying to think if I've watched. I'm sure I have.
What?
Any of the rebooted stuff. I haven't watched any of the Will and Grace. I'm trying to think what else is out there that I might have. I didn't watch Magnum PI, the new Magnum or the new Hawaii 5-0.
I haven't watched network television in like 10 years.
Yeah, I guess I really haven't either.
One last thing I have, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker has been confirmed to be 141 minutes long.
So just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours, 20 minutes. That's fine. That's reasonable.
Last Jedi was the longest Star Wars movie, 152. Star Wars, the first one ever, A New Hope, 1977, was 121 minutes long.
Boy, that felt rewatching that. It feels like it's 17 hours long.
Empire Strikes Back was 124. Return of the Jedi 131. The prequels were 136, 142, and 140. Force Awakens was 138. So this is right in there with all of them.
Yeah, 2 hours 10 minutes, 2 hours 20 minutes.
They say
that's about what you need.
It's going to wrap up literally 40 years of movies. It's the last in a series of 9 movies, and it's supposedly going to tie together every loose end.
That's crazy to think about.
So
it's crazy to think about that it's been around that long.
Yeah.
I mean, basically our entire lives, pretty much. And 2, that it's going to end definitively, apparently end this saga. You're watching The Mandalorian, right? That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason we got Disney Plus, pretty much.
Totally.
I love it.
Yeah,
I think
great.
It's outstanding. It's one of the best things that the Star Wars universe has done.
It is absolutely it encapsulates the feeling that George Lucas wanted Star Wars to be. Yeah. Like his original idea of being
before
like
he went tinkery.
Yeah, a space drama.
Yeah.
A soap opera in space, whatever. A Western.
That's exactly what this is. It is a Western. And we were speaking of man babies earlier. There are a lot of man babies upset with this latest episode because of a thing that a woman is able to do that the rest of the cast, the rest of the people in her village are not able to do. They're very upset that it was a woman just for no apparent reason.
What? She could shoot a gun?
Those little fuckers have obviously never seen any Western movie ever made because it's always the widow.
I missed that dark corner of the internet. I didn't hear people complaining about that.
It's not a large percentage, but there was some Twitter buzz. Why has it got to be a woman? Why is it always got to be a woman that knows how to shoot? Makes no sense. Why could she shoot and the men in the village couldn't shoot? Shut up. Just shut up. Go back in your fucking hole and shut up. Yeah. Watch an old movie from the 50s, a Western, or any Western ever.
Annie, get your gun.
It's always the widow that knows how to shoot. Watch Firefly.
Play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Play Red Dead Redemption 2. Anything set in the Old West, there's always a widow that knows how to shoot. It's just a standard trope.
And you can tell that Jon Favreau, who writes these shows and produces, is the showrunner.
Yeah.
By the way, that last episode was directed by
Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. How about that?
She did a great job.
Cutie pie too. Sorry about that.
Yeah, let's objectify.
Yeah, I know.
She's a great director.
She is a great director. She's got beautiful eyes.
Good actress. She looks like Ron Howard in drag.
I love in Jurassic Park when she's got the heels on the whole time. I know I'm not supposed to love that, but anyway.
You're the one person that didn't bother.
No, seriously, she's great as a director. But Jon Favreau, you can tell that he loves Star Wars and he wants to honor it. He doesn't want to move it to the next level or put his own stamp on it. He wants to honor Star Wars and the original feeling. I think it's really cool.
Oh, it's great. And it's a great movie. And I'm caught up on The Watchmen now. Also a great show.
Another, very intense. And there's only two more episodes of The Watchmen.
There's 8. I think we watched it. Did we watch 6 or 7?
Yeah, 6 of them. Number 6 was last night. So there's 2 more episodes of The Watchmen coming to a head. All right, so it's time now for
Dad Jokes. Dad Jokes. They don't seem funny to normal folks.
All right.
You typically go first, so bring on the racism and misogyny.
This one's a religious joke.
Sure.
It's called The Creation of Humans. A little girl asked her mother, "How did the human race appear?" The mother answered, "God made Adam and God made Eve, and they had children, and so was all mankind made." 2 days later, the girl asked her father the same question. The father answered, "Many years ago, there were monkeys from which the human race evolved." The confused girl returned to her mother and said, "Mom, how is it possible that you told me the human race was created by God and Dad said they developed it from monkeys?" Mother answered, "Well, dear, it's very simple. I told you about my side of the family and your dad told you about his."
So not really a religious joke. It's a family joke.
Dad joke.
Oh, I already played that.
It was a dad joke. Very good. The high voice sticky.
I like that one, though.
Yeah, that was good.
Pretty good for my dad,
that
anyway.
Was good for your dad. Your dad found one that wasn't too offensive to any specific group of people.
That's right.
I am actually branching out and going with a mom joke. My dad may have fed it to my mom and she just relayed it, but this came from my mother. I just heard that Victoria's Secret and Smith & Wesson are merging, and their new name is going to be Titty Titty Bang Bang.
Whoa!
Yeah. Go, Mom.
Your mom is edgy.
My mom's working blue. After all these years, 70 years old, and she's working blue.
All right. Well, that's our show, folks. Thanks to that one dude who we don't even know who called in.
That's awesome. And he rejoined and is listening now. So thanks, Andre.
Andre Christian. That was really cool. And thanks to my sister for calling in, Carrie for calling in, and everybody for listening. So we will be back next week. Hopefully, Mary Jane and Neil will be back. If
every
not,
Tuesday at 6:30 right here on this same
Podbean app.
Bean app.
That's right. But if you missed it, you can also download us on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere you get a podcast, you can download us from. Find us on Instagram.
Yes.
Where I do a lot of stupid photoshops.
You do.
And I try to be offensive.
Some
nudes.
Yeah.
One pregnant of me.
That's a disturbing one.
Yeah. So go look that up. We're occasionally on Facebook and Twitter too. So thanks for listening. And Shawn, say something that will end the show.
This has been MJ and the Boys. You lucky bastards.